Like, unironic, legit question. What does sexualization mean? Like, I want to know the definition. Has anyone ever provided it? Because before making this video, I have spent several hours going on the internet trying to find what does it mean to sexualize a character. So we're talking about video games and anime specifically. Like, what exactly does it mean to sexualize a character? Because when I was a kid, I grew up with stuff like this, and people that were hyper religious had absolutely no problem with this. But for some reason, I understand that today, especially in anime, this is incredibly problematic. This also is problematic, and there are people who will make the argument, and some of them on Twitter will even tag the FBI if you disagree with the censorship. So if you like the original that the Japanese animator created, you are a pedophile. I'm not kidding. Like, this is actually happening on Twitter. I know that probably most of you do not use that platform. But especially in the anime community, it does view like it's under attack ever since Vice Magazine, a publication that talked about lowering the age of consent, made an article that got a Pulitzer nomination saying that anime is pedophilic. And it's almost like they all got their marching orders, and it feels like all conversations about anime is being astroturfed. And when you're sitting on the sidelines, you're thinking, okay, well, it's the people that are attracted into little kids that are drawn, right? So, like, it's still fictional, but it's disgusting. And I understand that point, because that will never become mainstream. Like, that will always be, like, one of the darkest fetishes of the internet that is, like, borderline legal and even illegal in some countries, right? But we're not talking about that. No, we're talking about mainstream animes that are incredibly popular, like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer. They are not pornographic in any way, shape, or form, but because some of the characters there are drawn lewd, that is enough for people to rally up against these animes and say that if you enjoy it, which again, like if you enjoyed X-Men when you were a kid in the 90s, you're probably a pedophile. That's their argument, not mine. But I find that interesting, right? Like, if you look at Demon Slayer, it is a show where in the first episode, the main character arrives home to see his family, and 3 of them, which are genuine children, like not teenagers or, no, actual children, are being massacred with the blood sprayed across the walls, and their mutilated bodies are left with horrified expression strewn across the floor. And nobody in this discussion against Demon Slayer seems to have any issue or hesitation with this. Right? So, like, over-the-top gore and violence, even when done against children, the same people that are claiming that they want to protect fictional characters, they have no issue with this. Now, the teenage character transforming into a form that looks like an adult, this is the primary concern about the show's discussion. And what I find interesting is that, again, like, this is not an anime that deals with sex in any way. So far, I don't even know if there's any kissing involved, like, let alone actual sex, because, like, in American shows, you know, you used to have, like, adult actors portraying themselves as teenager back in the 90s, and many of them. And there were more than kissing going on in some of them. You even had, like, slasher films where adult actors would portray themselves as teenagers, and they would have, like, sex. Obviously, it was covered up, but, like, they gesticulated enough for people to understand before the killer came up with the knife. Right? So, like, no one complains about that. Like, that is fine. But, like, for some reason, we have to pretend that what's happening in anime, and again, like, we're specifically talking about My Hero Academia, we're specifically talking about Demon Slayer, we need to pretend that what's happening here is happening recently, it's over the top, it's causing a rise in crime, it's affecting society on a negative level that it must be put under control. And if a person who actually rapes a child in real life, that is exactly the same like a person who likes the original costume from My Hero Academia before the censorship. Do you guys understand why this is a little bit interesting? Why it's hard for me to believe that these people are genuine and that their concerns are legitimate? Because if you genuinely think that anime influences society, then you should be concerned about the sexualization, and at the same time you should also be concerned about the hyperviolence. Because you're exposing people to hyperviolence and it desensitizes them, so when they see it in the real world because they saw it in an anime, it's less impactful. It makes them more apathetic to it, right? But like, I don't see that happening. So what I do see happening is that there are individuals that expect to gain clout from their followers. So by virtue signaling and showing, look how I stand against people who watch anime, they expect to receive a standing ovation. Most of these people don't even watch anime. Like, they watch Hazbin Hotel, they watch Hell of a Boss, they're deep into the furry fandom, so they don't care about anime, which is why they can attack it from the outside. Number two are the people that are genuinely trying to censor anime. This is no different than the same tactic of video games are sexist or racist rhetoric. They're literally the same. They knew that video games and comic books weren't sexist or racist, but they tried to use these shaming tactics in order to gain control over the industry, in order to put the activists in charge with the concept that the moment we're in charge, we're going to fix this. And it's going to be little concessions. Like, first, the female characters get covered up. Then there's going to be certain topics that you're not allowed to present. Then there's going to be certain issues that can't be depicted. Then you're going to need representation. Then you're going to need inclusivity. And you're going to have the anime literally the exact same way that you have comic books in the US right now that don't sell for shit. Because this is what it's about. This is what the tourists want. The tourist has to be marginalized, gatekept, and ignored. Because his greatest sin is dishonesty. He doesn't complain about anime for the reasons he claims. He is either doing it because he is carrying water for a cause that he is unaware of. In politics, we call these individuals useful idiots. Like, they legitimately believe that, oh, well, this is clearly about kids, so blah, blah, blah. Or, I have seen right-wingers which unironically believe that anime makes you trans. I don't know where they got this from. I do not know where this whole conversation started, but like, they unironically legitimately believe, like, these are the boomer right-wingers, the right-wingers that are, I think, like, they're maybe over the age of 40 or something. So they, like, legitimately believe this, right? They don't think, like, Disney movies or Netflix or any other one are problematic. No, it's anime, right? So, like, by attacking anime, by trying to shame people and create stigma about watching anime, they hope that more people will stop watching it. And then you have people on the far left that are worried about the sexualization of women and other nonsense. But all in all, it is absolutely clear what's happening. What happened to the video gaming industry and what's happening to the comic book industry is what they're trying to achieve here. They tried calling anime racist, didn't work. They tried using the sexist argument, didn't work. Now they're trying something that can appeal to right-wingers. Because right-wingers legitimately care about children. So they're basically trying to say that anime is harmful for real kids. And if we don't step in, if we are not allowed to gain control of this industry, it's going to be bad. And by gaining control of the industry, like, one of the things that they want to do is to shame people to the point where they're not going to watch anime, so that anime loses money, they lose profits, and then they will require localizers and consultants in order to make sure that the anime that they're making is going to be acceptable. So my advice is, do not allow yourself to be gaslit into believing that there is a problem to watch these very popular animes like My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer. Millions of people watch them. They are very famous. It was okay when you watched it 2 years ago. It's okay when you watch it now. Do not allow these people to gaslit you. Be very outspoken when you call out these people when you encounter them. Because even though you're not going to win the debate or the conversation, other people have to see that their position is unpopular, and they have to see that there is pushback against them. And more importantly, you need to understand that the tourist probably does it for free and that he can be demoralized as well. So every time you make sure that he understands that he is farming clown emojis, that he's getting laugh emojis, that he's being ridiculed, he's going to stop eventually. Because what these people love the most, as I mentioned before, is the high they get from displaying their virtue. So when they're showing to people that, look, my opinion is the public opinion, they expect a standing ovation. And when all they get is a deck full of Joker cards, you're going to stop. So they can be demoralized, just like people that were supporting the original comic book industry and the original cartoon industry in the West got demoralized by the social justice activists that constantly were harassing and attacking anyone that was trying to stand against the change that they were proposing. It's the same way that the tourist can be demoralized. So if you see someone that is making ridiculous statements, call them out. If you see someone that is making bizarre claims and is trying to gaslight other people, try to help them out and say, no, look, you're being gaslit. Like you're in the right, this guy is in the wrong. There's nothing wrong with Demon Slayer, there's nothing wrong with My Hero Academia. These are very popular, high public IPs that have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. So let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.